let's go back on the record. Mr. Burmester, the state's next witness.
The state's next witness, Your Honor, is Brooke Carrington.
Ms. Carrington, let's get you sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yeah. Give Ms. Carrington the glass of water. Mr. Burmester, take it away.
And to increase the likelihood of a disaster, is that the witness notebook? Because we're putting water next to a notebook.
That is the witness notebook.
Okay. That's what I would do. Now, Ms. Carrington's a lot better than me.
Thank you very much.
Can you please state your full name and then spell your last name for the record?
Brooke Carrington, Karrington.
Ma'am, are you employed?
Yes,
How?
I am a forensic accountant.
Do you have, work for a firm or have a firm?
I have a firm, KF Squared.
And how long have you practiced in this field?
Over 30 years.
Now, did you testify as an expert in this case at the detention hearing in June of last year?
Yes, I did.
What sort of documents did you review, if any, in preparation for today's testimony?
I've reviewed financial documents that include bank account statements, real property documents that are recorded like trust deeds, warranty deeds, etc. I've also reviewed loan documents, which includes promissory notes, the applications, the documents that memorialize the terms of the loans. I've reviewed insurance documents, which are the applications and the policy documents. There's also a large body of email communication associated with different loan applications and insurance applications.
Okay, so to be clear, that would be things like maybe someone submits an application and then there's some follow-up communication between a lender and a borrower?
That's correct.
What bank accounts did you look at? I'm sorry. What banks or credit unions, other things, did you look at?
Primarily, there are a number of them, but primarily America First Credit Union, PenFed Credit Union, Navy Federal Credit Union, UCCU, which I believe is Utah Community Credit Union.
Okay, so let's look at the bank accounts from AFCU, from America First. Were there a number of those accounts associated with the defendant and her family?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about, were there some associated with their children?
Yes.
Okay. Leaving those to the side, see, that's why I don't have water next to me. Let's look at the adults. What accounts, and let's refer to them to the last four digits of those accounts. What ones did you look at?
Primarily, the Kouri Richins Realty account, which is 5677.
You sure it's 5677?
6577. Sorry about that. They're joint. Eric and Mr. Richins and Ms. Richins had a joint account 2204. Ms. Richins had a personal account which is 5244, and then the C&E Masonry account which is 7664.
This 6577, the Kouri Richins Realty, did Eric Richins have access to that account that you could see?
Not that I'm aware of. He was not a signer, and I don't see any transactions that indicate that he would have accessed that.
Can you generally conceptualize how 2204, that joint account was used.
That appeared to be the account where typical household expenses were paid. The mortgage on the house, the credit card payments, the kids' expenses, insurance payments, various things associated with the family.
Purchases at the grocery store.
Things like that, yes.
Okay. Are you, through this work you've done for the county, and let me ask this question, were you originally hired by the estate or someone else before being hired by the county?
Yes, I was.
Who hired you?
I was brought into the case to work on behalf of the estate of Eric Richins.
Okay.
And so I worked on that case, but then when I was hired by Summit County, I ceased my engagement with them.
So in part of your work, did you ever become familiar with a premarital agreement?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to refer your attention to docket number 106.
Okay.
Did you, in your work, did you examine this document?
Yes, I did.
And what is it?
This is the premarital agreement between Mr. Richins and Ms. Richins.
And I'd like to further direct your attention to section 2 of that document.
Okay.
In section 2, is there something relevant to today's inquiry?
Yes, this section states that the business C&E Masonry would retain its character as separate property belonging to the husband.
Even if funds were commingled,
That's correct.
personal and professional? But was there an exception to that?
Yes, if the husband should die prior to the wife, then his interest would transfer to her.
So what was K. Richins Realty?
That is Ms. Richins' business, primarily in the real estate business.
Did she have other businesses that you're aware of?
Yes, she did.
Do you know when that business was formed?
Yes,
When?
in April of 2019.
I'd like you to take a look at State's Exhibit 19, please. What is that?
This is the Certificate of Organization of K. Richins Realty, LLC.
Does it indicate when the company was formed?
It does on... Yes, it does.
What is the date?
April 26th, 2019.
And does it also give an address for this business?
Yes, it does.
And what is that address?
282 Willow Court in Camas, Utah.
Okay, is that in Summit County, to the best of your knowledge?
It is in Summit County, yes.
Just generally speaking, how does this type of business work that Ms. Richins was involved in?
She appears to me that she was a licensed real estate agent, so she did represent buyers and sellers, but primarily she was involved in fixing and flipping homes.
So she would buy it, fix it, then sell it? Is that what we're getting at?
That's correct, yes.
This began then in 2019.
That's right.
Were there other purchases or transactions that predate 2019?
Yes.
And where did those take place?
Those were in South Carolina.
So, the market in 2019, do you have any idea of what the market was like, real estate market was like in 2019?
Yes, it was robust.
Meaning properties could come up for sale and be gone within a matter of days?
I think that's a fair statement, yes.
Okay, what were the interest rates like? Conventional loan interest rates then versus, say, today?
Fairly low. They were still very, very low at that time.
Rough neighborhood average?
Well, depending on your loan, but 2 to 4 or 5%.
Safe to say that's a little different today.
Safe to say, yes.
So, in that business, it would seem to me that you would need to be able to act quickly to obtain properties before they're suddenly off the market.
I think that's a fair statement, yes.
Okay. So, how do the practitioners of that type of business work? It would seem you'd need some capital somehow.
That's correct.
And what are the possible sources for capital?
A business in that field could have its own capital. It could borrow from financial institutions. They could borrow from friends or whatever, hard money lenders,
Okay.
or have investors.
Okay. So, what do you mean by hard money lenders?
Hard money lenders are, soft money lenders would be like traditional financial institutions where it's a conventional loan, there's a conventional loan application process, due diligence by that financial institution, or and they're typically regulated by state and federal agencies. And then hard money loans are called that colloquially because they have more strict terms, they're harder terms, usually a higher interest rate, very definite zero tolerance default clause usually.
Okay, so I guess the advantage of a conventional loan would be lower interest rate. The disadvantage would be response time because of the due diligence required.
That would be, yes.
The others are more responsive in time, but have these more draconian clauses.
Yes.
Prior to the April 26, 2019 date, was there something else that you found that was important for our inquiry today?
Yes.
What was that?
The home equity line of credit that was taken out on the home.
On the family home, the marital home.
The home on Willow Court, where the family lived. Yes.
Do you know whose name that? Well, first of all, was there a mortgage on that home?
Yes.
Do you know whose name was on that mortgage?
The home was owned by Eric Richins, and the home equity loan that was taken out was also in the name of Eric Richins.
Could you give us a very brief description of what a home equity loan is?
It's a line of credit, typically, that is established. There's a loan application process. There's a line of credit that's established that someone could tap into their equity that they already own in the home.
Yes.
So
you could make home improvements or whatever you wanted to do, I suppose.
a person could tap into it for any number of reasons.
In this case, there was home equity line of credit for how much?
$250,000.
And when was that?
That was in March of 2019.
And so does this in effect, is it secured by the home itself?
It is, yes.
Okay, so this is essentially a second mortgage.
Your Honor, I know this isn't expert, but we're doing a lot of leading, so I would just object and ask if we could maybe let the expert be the expert here and object.
I think it's just laying foundation, and so overruled, but if we can keep it moving,
Well,
Mr. Burns.
Do you know if this was, there was any in order to obtain this, I guess, is where we need to go with this. In order to obtain this loan, a home equity line of credit, on a home owned by Eric Richins, how does that happen?
There's a loan application process, and in this instance, it was signed by Ms. Richins, referencing a power of attorney.
Okay, I'd like to direct your attention to States Exhibit 123, States Exhibit 124. We'll take 123 first.
Are you talking about the dockets?
Yes,
Docket
I'm
number?
sorry. Docket number 123 and 124.
Okay, yes, I've got those.
Do you recognize those two documents? Is there a difference on the date it's signed by the purported author of it, I guess?
Yes.
Or what's the difference in the date?
Docket 123 is signed and dated 5/8/13, and docket 124 is signed, dated 5/8/18.
During your investigation and examination, are you aware of whether those docket number 123 and 124 came under suspicion?
They were.
I'd like to direct your attention to States Exhibit, or docket number 127.
I don't have a 127. I do not have a 127. Wait, never mind. It's just in different order.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's out of order. That is
That's okay.
totally my fault.
Okay,
You know what that is?
I do.
What is it?
This is the expert report by Matt Throckmorton.
And those, he examined 3 question documents, is that right?
That's right.
And 123 and 124, are they any of those
Yes.
question documents?
Those are 2 of the 3.
I'd like you to take a look at now. Lost control. See, it's always right here. We do have it in here. Okay. I think we have marked them as States Exhibit 70 for the court. I'm going to approach the witness.
Of course.
I'm not sure she has States Exhibit 70.
Go ahead.
Can you please just describe or the title of that document for the record, number 70?
This is the Willow Court Loan Advances and Payments.
Okay. When is the first withdrawn that home equity line of credit?
It's March 26, 2019, for $60,000.
When is the next withdrawal?
August 5th, 2019.
Could you describe the next couple of withdrawals on that?
Following that $2,100 in August, there are a series of withdrawals for the next few months.
Okay. In August, is there more than one or just the one?
There are several.
Okay. Does that strike you as important for today's
Yes.
purposes? Would you explain to the court what you draw from that?
Beginning in August of 2019, this is around this time is the first property that Ms. Richins purchased after obtaining her business license. It's a home in Heber City. As far as I know, that was her first home in Utah that she flipped.
We have State's Exhibit 71.
Mr. Burmester, are you offering state 70?
Yes, yes, I will be offering State 70 and 71 as summary charts.
Okay. Ms. Nestor, any objection?
No, sir.
Okay, 70 and 71 are admitted.
Could you read for the record the title of 71?
Encumbrance and Real Property Chronology Trust Deed Summary.
So what, does that help you state for the record what that first transaction was and where?
Yes. It's the 550 house. The first warranty deed involving Kouri Richins Realty was August 1st of 2019.
Now, I'd like to portray that in another way. Did you prepare a timeline bar chart?
Yes.
Does it depict much of the same information, just in a different way?
Different format, yes.
Would that be helpful in conveying your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. State would offer State's Exhibit 69, and we're just going to go to the first chart, which is
Ms. Nestor, any objection?
No, sir.
State's Exhibit 69 is admitted.
That's the whole PowerPoint? I'm sorry.
it is, but I've only laid foundation for the very first.
Got it.
Is that the bar chart you were just referring to?
Yes.
And so, can you just explain for the judge how this chart works?
Sure. I think you've seen this before. And the colors don't mean anything. They're just to distinguish one line from another. I've just got the years along the top and the months, and then going down the different properties just as some sort of an illustration to depict when properties were held at any particular time.
And then within each bar is the address of the property purchased?
Right, and so if you wanted to know what was held in June of 2021, you could draw a vertical line to see which properties were owned at that time.
I see. Okay. So, any more purchases in 2019 by Kouri Richins Realty?
Not that I know of. There could be others, but this is what I have been able to compile.
How about in 2020?
2020, yes, there were others.
Okay. How many purchases by Kouri Richins Realty of property in 2020?
I think there were just the 5.
I see. Is there one that stands out to you?
In 2020,
Yes.
not particular. Well, the Franson Lane one toward the end of 2020, in October of 2020,
I
the
see.
Franson Lane property in Oakley.
I see. Let's drill down into the Franson Lane property. You said, when was that?
It was acquired in October of 2020.
Is it different from the previous 5, I guess, counting 2019?
Yes,
In what ways was it different?
it was a more robust project, more ambitious project in amount. You know, it was. I think she acquired it for $1.3 million, and the others had been somewhere in the neighborhood of like $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000.
Did she require outside money
Yes.
to make this investment?
Yes.
What sort of investors?
They were hard money lenders.
Do you know who they were?
Yes.
Who are they?
Sierra West Capital was the primary lender, which is this, as is the case on several of her properties. And then there were other investors who contributed the funds basically for the rehab.
I see. Okay. Was there something else different in this application that you garnered from all the financial records?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question.
That's the way I roll. Okay. Was there something else that you found in reviewing all of the documents, not just the loan documents, that distinguished this purchase as opposed to the ones that had gone before it? Involving, all right, how about this? Do you know if C&E was involved in this project?
C&E was involved in this project.
Okay. And what did you discover about C&E's involvement?
After the acquisition of the Oakley property, the Franzen Lane property, C&E, there are several checks from C&E that were deposited to the K. Richins Realty account, and they specifically have a memo on them that tie them to this property. And so over the next, between October and when this property was sold in March of 21, there are a series of checks. I think there are 6 or 8 checks that are about $133,000, I think.
Was this property ever sold?
Yes, it was,
When?
in March of 2021.
Okay. What happened to the proceeds from that sale?
This was a property where the net proceeds were about $466,000, which came into the K. Richins Realty account, that 6577 account. And then from that, $217,000 was paid directly to C&E, and then there were some other payments, transfers out from the account that were associated with this property as well, and left her with about, around $200,000 in net proceeds.
In your examining of all the evidence in this case, were there other things that you looked at to inform your examination that took place in October of 2020?
There were other things in October of 2020, yes.
Did you take a look at State's Exhibit 22? Are you familiar with that document?
Yes.
Could you explain what it is?
This is an intake form from a divorce attorney describing that Eric Richins was wanting to consult with this attorney on a potential divorce, and it's dated October 8th of 2020.
In the wake of that, are you aware of any other instruments that were created out of that?
Yes, there are the notes that the attorney appeared to have handwritten during the course of that first meeting.
Were there financial arrangements made after that meeting that you're aware of?
Yes, the notes indicate that there was some new information by Mr. Richins that there was the HELOC had been taken out on the home, that as if this was new. And then from this, he set up the Eric Richins Living Trust and also a will.
Was there something dramatically different about the trust situation as before?
Ms. Richins was not the beneficiary of his estate. It was to be for his children, and the trustee was going to be his sister, Katie.
So I'd like to go back to I think it was 70. Should be the HELOC loan balance for well of By August of 2020, what was the balance?
August of 2020, $246,931.
Okay. Is there a significant, well, up until that point, how, was there money being paid on that debt?
Yes, they were the interest-only payments. The minimum payments were about $900, $1,000, something like that, that were made every month.
Did something different happen in October of 2020?
Yes.
What happened?
There's really the first significant payment, and it's $50,000 on October 12th.
Do you know what the source of that fund was?
Yes, Ms. Richins had sold the Cleveland Avenue house in Salt Lake, and from that she received net proceeds of about $63,000. There was a transfer, and then this $50,000 was sourced from that.
On October 12th?
Yes.
Bringing the balance to approximately what?
$196,000.
Do you know whether in October she was in a financial position to just pay that $196,000 off?
She was not.
Let's go into 2021. I guess we've still got the timeline up. Direct your attention to timeline. And could you describe for the record a summary of what purchases, et cetera, took place in 2021?
Yes. So she acquired a property in Heber City before she got the proceeds from Branson Lane. And then after that, she acquired a number of properties throughout the summer especially, and then ending the year acquiring 3 on the same day in November. And I think there may be another property that she was working on that I don't have on here, but all in all, she had about 15 properties in 2021.
So, did she go to the same lenders for all of these 15 properties?
No, there is some consistency in the lenders, but she did diversify a little bit.
Okay. Can you tell the court some of the lenders that you found that she used?
So she primarily used the Sierra West, and that's pretty consistent through here. And those investors who would have been taking second, third, or fourth position were pretty consistent as well.
Those are like Cocker Hands?
Cocker Hands, Ellis, Soto, Lieb. There's a number of them.
Okay.
And then she also went to a company called Ironbridge, a company called Boomerang. She did 4 projects with Boomerang.
I see. So let's take, when did she go to Ironbridge and when to Boomerang?
Those were in the summer of 2021.
And Ironbridge, how would you describe what Ironbridge is or does?
They appear to be a hard money lender. The terms are somewhat more flexible than typical hard money lenders, but the interest rates the interest rate on that loan, I believe is 13%. Was 13%.
And in 2021, is that high?
That would be high, yeah.
So, how did the application process go between the defendant and Ironbridge?
There is an original application that is submitted. It appears to be online. I don't know that for sure, but it appears to be online. And then there was a series of emails back and forth where the person analyzing the loan or underwriting the loan is asking her to submit some additional documentation.
Okay. Can you take a look at State's Exhibit 58, please? State's Exhibit 58. Is that what you were talking about? Some email going back and forth between Ironbridge and the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. Is there something about a bank statement in there?
Yes. It asks for personal bank statements, the most recent.
Okay. Based on your experience and training, why would they want to know that stuff?
Typically, they'd call that proof of funds. They want to, they need to verify. In banking terms, it's KYC, know your customer. Every financial institution needs to know and verify the individual and entities that they're dealing with.
I'd like you to take a look at State's Exhibit 59, if you would. What is State's Exhibit 59?
This is a secured promissory note for what I call the 299 house in Heber with Ironbridge.
And first of all, this is Kouri Richins Realty purchasing this. Is that what it?
That's right, and I misspoke. This is 10%. I had misstated the interest rate earlier.
And what is the amount that they're loaning?
$346,500.
When?
This is in July of 22.
20.
I'm sorry, July of 21. Sorry. It's signed July 7th, 2021.
Now, did you examine a bank statement from Ironbridge purportedly given to them by the defendant?
You mean from Ironbridge, meaning...
It was obtained from Ironbridge, so but submitted to it that it used to...
It was part of the Ironbridge loan information that we received, yes.
Okay. Would you take a look at State's Exhibit 11, please? What is State's Exhibit 11?
This is America First Credit Union bank account statement for May 31st, 2021 for Kouri Richins Realty, account number 6577.
And do you know where this was sourced from?
This was sourced from Ironbridge, as indicated by the number on the top.
Okay. And how do you know it's Kouri Richins Realty?
The header on the bank account statement purports to be Kouri Richins Realty.
And then in the body of that statement, does it give the amount in the bank account?
Yes.
What is that?
The summary of the accounts for the three accounts that are included in this bank account statement is $210,898.61. That's the ending balance.
So I'd like to direct your attention now to State's Exhibit 12. What is State's Exhibit 12?
This is the America First bank account statement for Kouri Richins Realty for that same month, May of 2021, for account 6577. This is the actual statement that we received from America First Credit Union.
In what way is it the same, and in what way is it different from the State's Exhibit 11?
The header is the same, but the body, the transactions that are contained are different.
What is the total balance?
The total balance is $15,609.
All right, let's take a look at State's Exhibit 13. What is that?
This is the actual bank account statement for C&E Stone Masonry, ending in 7664. This is the document that was received directly from America First Credit Union.
And how do you know it's C&E's?
The header indicates that it's C&E's, and the transactions appear to be consistent with what C&E would be doing. And it matches the bank account statement that Iron Bridge produced, but it has the different header on it.
So let me make sure I understand this. 11 has a header from her account, Kouri Richins Realty, but yet the body of C&E's May 31st bank statement.
That's correct.
I'd like you to take a look at State's Exhibit 60. That's 60. I believe that's an email exchange. Is that right?
That's right.
What's the subject?
Quick question.
Okay, and is the quick question below, physically below the response? Is that
Yes.
okay? So what is the quick question?
This is from Mr. Kamey, I don't know how to say that, from Iron Bridge, emailing Ms. Richins asking for an explanation about her credit score, the credit cards, and referencing that bank account statement.
Okay. Is he perplexed? I mean, what
Check
is,
speculation.
Sustained.
specifically, what does he say to her?
He says when he first ran her credit, it was lower than expected. There were some delinquencies on the credit cards, but he can see from the bank account statement that she provided that she's got plenty of money in the bank to cover expenses.
How does she respond to that?
Do you like me to read it?
Yes, please. If you just read what she says to that question.
She says, "Hi, Richard. Hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. Yes, sure. Everything is paid off now. It just probably hasn't updated. I recently learned about all of this as well, LOL, and then my husband decided to explain to me that this was his doing a while ago. We are in the process of separation for one of many reasons, but this is one of them, to keep it short and sweet, LOL. It's been crazy to say the least. I look forward to working with you guys on our first and hopefully many projects."
Okay, you said she obtained some loans from Boomerang 4, I believe you said.
Yes.
I'd like you to take a look at State's Exhibit 14, if you would. What is State's Exhibit 14?
This is from Boomerang, but it's an America First Credit Union bank account statement for Kouri Richins Realty, account 6577 for June of 2021.
And how do you know it's Kouri Richins Realty?
Just the header.
And what is the balance on
The The balance, the ending balance is $702,831.
Let's take a look at State's Exhibit 15 now. Now, what is that?
This is the actual statement that was obtained directly from America First Credit Union for Kouri Richins Realty account 6577 in June of 2021.
The header says K. Richins and Realty in the 6577.
That's right.
What is the ending balance?
Ending balance is $15,339.
Okay, let's take a look at State's Exhibit 16. What is that?
This is the actual bank account statement that was obtained directly from America First Credit Union for C&D Stone Masonry LLC, account 7664 for June of 2021.
And it presumably says C&E and 7664
Yes.
in the header?
In the header, yes.
What's the ending balance?
The ending balance is $702,831.
That's the same as State's Exhibit 14?
The one that was issued to Boomerang, or submitted to Boomerang, yes.
Okay. So, once again, cut and paste of header for K. Richins Realty and the data, the amount of money on hand from C&E.
That's correct.
Direct your attention to State's Exhibit 61, if you would. Could you describe for the record what this is?
Yes, this is from Boomerang. This is a document that came directly from Boomerang. It's a kind of an internal review, a summary of a potential loan, kind of ahead of that would be prepared in the midst of the approval process.
I see. And what was the property?
This is for the 75 East Midway House, I think. Yes. The smaller Midway House.
Okay. And in there, does it reference, well, first of all, how much is the loan amount?
The loan amount on this is $454,750.
And does it talk about the defendant's liquidity?
It does on the second page.
And what does it say about it?
Let's see. It says under liquidity and net worth, Kouri has liquidity in the amount of $702,000. She has a net worth of $2,719,000 made up of cash, securities, life insurance, retirement funds, and real estate investments.
And so that number 702,000 is that same figure from C&E that she's submitted in State's Exhibit 14?
I don't remember the exact exhibit number, but yes, that number is drawn from that bank account statement that was actually C&E, not Kouri Richins Realty.
Did you find any other instances where this similar type of cut and paste header with some other account was submitted to lenders?
Yes,
How many times did you find that?
I found 6 so far.
Including these two?
Yes.
Now, I'd like you to take a look again at the timeline.
Yes.
Okay, so these purchases in 2021, you've already mentioned, it's 15, more and more. Did any of them sell?
Yes. Great number of them did, yeah.
Okay, tell us about that.
As like the Mill Creek House, for example, that was acquired in the spring. That's a home in Salt Lake County, and so there was a primary lender on that, and multiple investors who gave K. Richins Realty money for the rehab costs. And then when it was sold, most of those were paid from closing, like at the title company. Some were not. Some came out of K. Richins Realty's net proceeds.
So she's turning over property, isn't she gaining money by doing this?
Yes.
Okay. What's happening to her debt load?
That was increasing, especially she started in the middle of summer of 2021. She started acquiring personal property loans that they're not secured by real property and were secured by advanced, her future receivables.
Okay. Is Greengrass holding one of those?
Yes.
Okay. Turn your attention to State's Exhibit 20. So could you, first of all, tell us what State's Exhibit 20 is?
This is a revenue purchase agreement dated, it's in September of 2021.
And could you explain the basic terms of this?
Yeah, this is an agreement with K. Richins Realty and then some other companies pledging $87,000 of advance receivables for $60,000 upon execution of the agreement, and e-signed by Kouri and Doreen Kouri.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. So she's saying, I will give you $87,000 of money I haven't earned yet, but I'll pay it to you in the future if you give me $60,000 now.
Yeah, and what's represented here that it's been earned and it's going to be coming in, but it's not in yet. And so she's saying, I'll pay you back $87,000 for $60,000 now.
I see. Okay. And what did it obligate her to pay?
$5,438 every week.
Did she pay that?
For a series of payments, yes.
Okay. How much did she pay that you're aware of?
I think she paid about $20,000. I'm not exactly sure of the amount on there, but she paid about $20,000 and then defaulted in December.
Did something happen as a result of that default?
Yes, they filed suit in New York.
Okay, the state would direct your attention to State's Exhibit 21. Could you describe for the record what State's Exhibit 21 is?
This is the summons and the verified complaint associated with that lawsuit.
And so in a lawsuit like that, there's some alleged facts?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd direct your attention to page 5, fact number 11.
Yes.
And what is the allegation there?
That she did pay $21,752, leaving the balance of unremitted receivables of $65,248. And then there's default fees of $2,500 and attorney's fees of $19,574.
Did you find any other agreements or attempted agreements between the defendant and these type of lenders?
Yes, I found several.
Okay, what are they?
QFS Financial is one she entered into where she pledged $167,000 for future receivatos for $105,000. That was the largest one by far. Most of them are in the $20,000 to $30,000 range.
Is Blue Bridge something like that?
Blue Bridge is one. Delta Bridge Funding, Zahav Asset Management, Crown funding. There are over a couple of dozen, or I'm sorry, over a dozen, yeah, about 20 or 25.
You mentioned early on that the defendant had an account with Navy Federal.
Yes.
Navy Federal, do you know what kind of account she had there?
At Navy Federal, she had a checking, a savings, and a credit line.
Okay. During the period of August to December of 2021, do you have any idea? Well, first of all, what was the maximum amount for that, the credit limit for that revolving line of credit?
That was $15,000.
For that period, August 2021 to December 2021, do you know what her balance was, relatively speaking?
Well, it was almost maxed out most of the time. During that specific review period, I would say, I think that's about $13,000.
Okay. Can you take a look at State's Exhibit 26, please? Is that a multi-page document?
It is.
Or what are they?
These are the bank account statements for the account ending in 0060, starting in July of 21. Ending in March of 22, and for Kouri Richins.
And does the statement include the balance on revolving credit?
Yes.
And throughout that time period I've just mentioned, it's more or less maxed out?
Yes.
I'd like you to take a look at State's Exhibit 27. Do you know what those are?
Yes.
What are these?
These are checks from the account of Kouri Richins at Navy Federal, and these checks were deposited into the account of K. Richins Realty. I believe all of these were deposited into that account, and none of them cleared.
Let's just do an exercise on one of these. Let's take a look. What's the check number on the very first one of State's Exhibit 27?
Check 271.
And when is that?
The date on the check is 8/28/2021.
Can you find that transaction in State's Exhibit 26, which is those statements for that appropriate time period?
Yes. Yes. It's on, the Bates number ends in 99 at the top, and it was returned on 8/31 of 21.
Okay. So that check, and how much was that check for, that particular one?
$2,100.
And all of the checks then in State's Exhibit 27 are similar in that way.
That's right.
So now we're at December of 2021, the end of the year there. What is her financial status at that point?
All in all, with all of the property, she had acquired and sold a number of properties. She retained several as rentals. She still had loans on those properties. So at that time, it was about $4 or $4.5 million that she still owed on those. Well, the trust deeds, she had paid some on them, but there's that. And then with all of the personal property loans, it's hard to tell for sure, but I think somewhere around $500,000 or $600,000 she owed on those personal property loans as well.
Now you mentioned that one, for example, was, I think it was green grass that
That's right.
required her to pay 5,000 weekly?
5,438 weekly, yes.
Were there some that were daily?
Yes.
And how many payments did she have to make for the month of December, for example?
She made about over 90 payments on debt. You know, there's a difference. There's the debt load and there's the debt service. So she owed the amounts that I stated, and then the debt service are the payments that she paid on that debt. And they're a little, well, there's over 100 that she paid payments.
So for the month of December, how much debt service is just what she paid? Not necessarily, it could be the same as debt load, but,
In this instance, no, it's different.
okay.
Yeah.
What was the debt service for the month of December, do you know?
It was over $300,000.
I'd like to take a look at, this is back to State's Exhibit 69. I'm going to move on to the next chart.